Deputy Tommy Broughan, question. We're tight on time, so I'll facilitate one supplementary.
Okay, that's great. Thanks, Ken. Yeah, you've put up your list of priorities at long last, I think, Minister, on the website, and includes the review, the mid-term review of the Road Safety Strategy 2013-2020. Would you agree, in fact, that parts of that strategy seem to be in tatters? If you look at some of the targets, the enforcement targets, number 71, for example, where we get an annual report on the strength of the traffic corps and you know how it is actually carrying out its enforcement, and given the fact, most of all, that as of this morning 175 people have lost their lives on the roads, and the casualty is still rising.
Thank you, Deputy Broughan. Minister.
Sorry, just a point of order. Is he getting two supplementaries or one?
You start the clock.
No, I just want to give him a lot of time. I just want to know how to use my time.
We'll get one supplementary because there'll be no sauce today at all.
Okay. My department's immediate priority for road safety at this time is to ensure the passage of the Road Traffic Bill 2016 through the Oireachtas, followed by its speedy enactment, together with the ongoing implementation of the Road Safety Strategy 2013-20. The Road Traffic Bill 2016 contains a series of reforms dealing with drug driving, mutual recognition of driver disqualifications between Ireland and the UK, and a new optional 20 km/h speed limit in built-up areas. In addition, several miscellaneous and technical matters will be addressed. I don't think I'm going to read the rest of this because it doesn't address your questions. I want to address your questions, and we'll put this on the record. I'll give it to you, a copy of it afterwards. Is that right? We'll address them, but not the way that I really want to. I think I wouldn't describe anything as being in tatters, but let me just say about the road safety figures, they're completely unacceptable, and the reasons that the reasons given for them seem to be the four basic ones which we've had before, which the Deputy will be familiar with: seatbelt, mobile, speed and alcohol. And it seems to me that, whereas I wouldn't say anything is in tatters at all, it seems to me that the fact that these figures have spiked this year should tell us something, and should tell us that it is not enough to be advertising aggressively in the newspapers and on television. That doesn't work on its own because the figures are so bad. I'm very hopeful that the road traffic bill, particularly with its drugs clauses and the clauses on speeding in the housing estates, which I know the Deputy has been so involved in, will help to bring down those figures, and I hope to get that enacted next week.
You can put all your supplementaries into 1 minute.
Thanks, Lascan. Well, obviously, I think I mentioned a Taoiseach a few weeks ago. Since you and I were elected to this House in 2011, and yourself, I think, Lascan, almost 1,000 people have died, and we've maybe had 15,000, 16,000 very serious injuries. And clearly, if this was happening in any other area of, Irish life administration, it would be, a massively targeted area that action would be taken. Now, in relation to the road strategy itself, as I said, if you look at the enforcement actions, say 69 to 109, it does seem to me that many of those are either hopelessly behind, and I welcome the fact that the road traffic bill, I presume, will be passed next week at the latest, and certainly be passed this session. But that, as I said, like enforcement 71, the Garda Traffic Corps, 85 penalty points, and so on. Some of these actions we just haven't had sufficient delivery on, and what kind of strong response can you take? There's also the matter of the fact that the Minister for Justice carries out a lot of the enforcement, and I wonder, after your experience now of the last 8-9 months, do you think there needs to be a special protocol in relation to the two departments, how road traffic law, which you are bringing through the House, will be enforced by the other department and by Garda Síochána, and particularly in relation to speeding, because if you look at the records of the district courts, you see massive inconsistency in relation to how speeding offences are being dealt with, and how in some district courts there is very, very low conviction rates compared to others. Thanks.
Minister, final reply.
I'm very reluctant to get into any more trouble with the judiciary by commenting on your last remark that I have in another sphere, but I suspect that there is a need for more consistency in sentencing, particularly in the traffic in the traffic offences area. And I suspect that some of the penalties are too light in certain areas. And I would like to see, in view of the road deaths, a more consistent form of penalty being imposed. The Deputy will probably be aware of the fact that yesterday that in the bail bill that's coming, there is going to be a clause that people will be forced to, in certain circumstances, at the discretion of the court, will be forced to hand up their licences when they're charged with serious offences. This is something quite new, and it's something which my department and I thoroughly approve of. But I'd like to thank the Deputy for his contribution to this debate, which I think is really helpful and really genuine. And I hope to be able to respond and to take concrete measures if necessary, and more concrete measures if necessary, to reduce road deaths.
Thank you.